technology teacher. I've got my amazing colleague this way, Sam Hall. She's a virtual teacher in Florida and does amazing things at ClassTag as well. And I'm going to introduce our amazing guest speaker and our amazing guest company in a minute, but just wanted to make sure you're all here for the right thing. So today we're going to be talking about leveraging and getting free STEM resources for remote learning. And a couple administrative things. We would love to absolutely have you engaged in the chat. We'd love to know where you are from. We'd love to know what grade level you teach, how school is going to look for you in the coming week to months as you go back or work online. So please introduce yourselves. And we actually have a $25 gift card from Amazon that we've had donated. That's just to encourage one person in the chat will be randomly selected to get that gift card, which will be given out by tomorrow at noon. So we're going to kick things off now by having Katie introduce herself and where she's from.
Sure. Thanks for welcoming us here today. I am a former high school math and literacy teacher, and I've been at CK-12 for the last 6 years, working on content and helping support teachers across the world as they use our free platform. We were invited here today to kind of share what we offer, and hopefully you'll find some of it useful as you move forward from there.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
And I also have a couple colleagues helping out. So if you hear anything from Lindsay and Ilya, they're here to help as well.
And guys, I'm here like last week, just here to run chat. So feel free to chat with us. We love to hear from you and ask questions, and we'll pop on and ask them any questions you guys have.
Great. And we're going to start in a second. Just wanted to give you a little background on ClassTag as well. If you're new to ClassTag, ClassTag is a free parent-teacher communication platform. We integrate with Google. We're a Google partner. We integrate with Google Classroom. And we also help teachers get free school supplies. So just wanted to let you know about ClassTag as well if you're new to us. And we're going to start just jumping in. We want this session to be really fun, engaging, immediately useful for you. And Katie's going to take over from here.
Great. Thank you. So I'm going to go to our site. You can find it just by typing in CK-12.org. And loading our homepage. You might, if you're not an account, you might be kicked over to the student version to start, but you can always use that button at the top to switch. And I really want to start this off by saying everything that we offer is 100% free. There's no premium version. There's no signing costs or registration costs. So everything I show you, you can start using today. So the question is, what does CK-12 offer? So I find our Explore menu to be a great quick overview of what we offer. We offer a variety of resources, starting from our FlexBooks, our older FlexBooks and our newest 2.0 FlexBooks are really full curriculum. They include content for learning. They include interactives embedded with them on the newer ones, all sorts of different options. Within those, you'll find a number of different resources that we offer. We offer adaptive practice, which is practice in our system that adjusts to student learning. It gives students more challenging questions if they're being successful, or stops them and gives them recommendations if they're struggling. We have two different types of interactives on our site: our simulations, which are more systems-based, and our quick little Plix interactives that cover different topics. Most of our content, as evidenced by this title, is focused on math and science. So if you are using Common Core or NGSS standards, you're more than welcome to find the correlation between our concepts and other resources there. And then we have some other components that you'll see throughout there. We offer professional development through our Certified Educator program. All of our great webinars are recorded, so you can always use that as an extra resource. You can have a discussion on our Cafe forum. And then I always think of these study guides as like quick little two-sided, reference sheets that would have been laminated in a bookstore when we all went to bookstores to get all of our books and supplies. And then our schools page is really where customized content is available. So you can check that out to see what else is nearby. That's one option for exploring. Another option for exploring might be to do something like this, where I could say, I want to talk about motion, and I could search it in biology or earth science or physical science. See what we get when we click on motion for physical science. We have some different choices within here. And right now that's going to put us directly into our FlexBook 2.0 world. And you can see here we have content on motion directly here. I can close out all my other resources that are available. I could even say, let's go to my table of contents and explore all of the resources in this physical science book. And I know under forces, as a former math teacher, I love the topic about projectile motion because I always had to teach that in high school math. And here you'll see an example of our science content as well. So here you can see content included directly in a lesson. You can see an interactive that you can launch out as one of our full simulations. You can see some questions, maybe an embedded video. And down here on the bottom, the practice. And you can go ahead and preview that as a teacher and get a sense of what your students would be seeing as they work their way through. And then in our newer content options, under our toolbar, we have what we call related content, which I find super useful. So here is this amazing water fountain simulation, a real world application to tie it in. I can open that up just so you get a sense of like what a simulation looks like in terms of an introduction question, a place for you to explore and go through and test things out, maybe some questions for students to answer. And we always try to relate everything back to the real world so you can see kind of what's happening and where that all goes. So that's a sense of one of our math things. I'm going through this stuff really quickly just so you get a chance to see what is available. But if I went back to CK-12 and instead of using the Explore option or the Search option, I chose to click under Subjects and say, I'm teaching 7th grade mathematics. So I can go ahead and I can click on that. And that's going to open the full FlexBook just like I did for physical science. And I can explore and go through this content. And for our newest middle school math books, we really tried to get at the idea of exploratory learning. And so if you go ahead into here in any of these sections, you'll see, once again, just like that related content in science, all of these different ways are little Plix interactives, some other components included in here. I can go ahead and click Start and enter that lesson. And here you'll see less text and more interactivity directly within the lesson for our newest books. So here you'll see a chance for students to try things out right within a lesson. They can go ahead and remove and do different pieces. So this is an equation, so they can drag it there. And as they work, if they finish it all correctly, they'll get marking for there. And they can even answer some questions directly within text. Check it and learn from that based on the feedback included. Now, I showed you what an interactive simulation looked like. I believe that there's a Plix in here, so let's go ahead to that related content and just give you a sense because that's one of our signature options. And we want to make sure that you understand what that is. The video is pretty self-explanatory. It might be a science experiment. It might be something else. But here, a student would go through and kind of sort things out. You get some X's there, some Y's there, and then there's some challenge questions. And any of our core lessons or interactives, our real-world applications, our practice, all will have some sort of assigned to class option or assign option. So on this Plix, you can see the option right up here under assign to class. If I close this out and I go back to this, you'll see either under the toolbar, options to assign to class or to assign directly here. If I choose that, you can see that you have the option to create and assign content to a CK-12 class, or if you're using something like Google Classroom, you can go ahead and just click on Google Classroom, connect that, and then assign directly to Google Classroom. And everything that you have available in Classroom would then be available with CK-12. So students would be able to access assignments from there. You would see reports there. Everything would kind of work within that classroom. You don't need a separate class on CK-12. That's also true for Canvas and Schoology. If your schools are using either of those learning management systems, you are more than welcome to assign content from within there. But it's really that simple. You just pick a class, pick a due date, and assign it accordingly. And I can assign this full lesson, which would give me a report on the practice that was attached to it, or any of those one-off learning modalities that I was referencing before. So as I go through, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just open a class. So if I go to my class on CK-12, or if I did the same thing in my Google class or in a class on Canvas and Schoology once there was content within there, there's two different types of reports that you can get for your particular assignments that you've made. And the first is just the general score report. So for practice, here I can see I have a score of 100%. Think of our practice as a homework assignment where the goal is to get 100%. They're going to get 10 questions right. They may try 12 questions or 20 questions to get that 10 right, but they get a completion score there. And then we include a skill level that gives you a sense of how they're actually doing on here. So Lindsay got all 10 questions right. She did that out of 12 questions, and you can see the level of questions and even the detailed questions themselves. And if I click on another person, you can see here that this person has a mastery level. So as they continue to work, he did 13 questions, but got a couple hard ones right, works their way through. For any of our general learning video interactive, students get full or no credit, so they get a credit here. This little clock is just, they turn it in late. And then if you created a quiz, because you can customize content on our site, choose any of our practice, tailor it to what you want, you would get a true assessment score. So that's one way to use us as an assessment versus kind of a homework option there. And then I'm going to show you two more things. So if I close this up, we have here under the assignment itself, and this would be true if you accessed an assignment link from within Google Classroom, from within Canvas or Schoology, any of those pieces. If it is a 2.0 lesson, that newer FlexBook environment that I was just talking about, that looks like this, that has that toolbar, it has that related content. If you assign that content, you'll see what we call insights as well. And so that includes not only their skill level score, so I'm going to click on the toolbar, I'm going to click on insights to get the insight components for here, and I'm going to pick the class that actually has content in it. So let's go ahead and open that class. I think we're loading. We've done a bunch of demos recently. So here we go, that winner class. And you can see that that score that Lindsay had on content, if I click on that, we have a proficient score level. She spent 3 minutes and 17 seconds, worked her way through here. For science, you might even see like a flashing dot that gives you a sense of, hey, this student struggled on content in this paragraph, and you can check it out. And we just launched our engagement score, which helps give a sense of whether or not the student tried any of the interactives or videos included in there. The other thing that you want to know, in addition to customizing practice, is I could go ahead and I could take this whole FlexBook and I could customize it. In one quick little click, I have my own copy of my book. I might change it to say my school, just so that I remember that this is not the CK-12 version. And then I can start rearranging chapters. I can delete chapters I don't want. I can actually even open up a chapter, and that edit button will take you into the editor. And we don't have time to go through all of the customization features today, but they're all available there. If you need help or you want more information on any of those pieces, you can check out our help desk using the link at the top or in the footer down here. And then I recommend you check out our webinars page, because that has all of our recorded webinars that go into customization, they go into more details, all of those pieces. So you can go ahead and check that. And then if you just want a quick sense of kind of the different parts that I was talking about, you're like, what was that was a Plix again? Our CK-12 resources gives you a quick overview of the different types of resources that we have on our site. Now, ClassTag is a platform to communicate with parents. So I do want to point out one of the coolest things that's involved in our site. Down at the bottom of any of our lessons, all the way down, we have a Google Translate option. And you're welcome to translate this page into another language. Anyone can do that. So if you share a FlexBook with teachers, with your parents, and they want to go ahead and they want to access content in their primary language, they can go ahead and use that translate option and access it that way. So there's a ton of content that I just covered. I'm sure you guys have a bunch of questions. But as I said, feel free to use the help option, our webinars to learn more. That was super, super quick overview. And then you can see here kind of the variety of options we have.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Katie. I'm still blown away by the fact that your organization is providing all these resources for free. That just blows my mind, and that was actually one of the main motives that when we came across your company, we wanted to reach out so we could get something great in the hands of our teachers. You spoke a lot about a range of resources, but are you able to just take a minute? We had some questions in the chat, and zone in on those resources that are especially relevant to K-8 teachers. I know there are a lot of K-8 to 8 teachers here from ClassTag, and would love to hear what you have to say. Also, question for the audience, if you want to jump in the chat, if you know any other great resources that are science resources for K-8, those younger grades, that would be really helpful to share with everyone. And we know Khan Academy, and there's a number of other resources that are freely available in those younger grades. But Katie, I'll let you take that one.
Sure. Yeah, so I would recommend if you're looking for specific leveled resources to use our subjects area. So I showed you our full FlexBooks. In science, at the K-5 level, so middle school and high school, we have kind of full curriculum. You can use it as a replacement for all of your curriculum. At the K-5 grades, we have different resources. It might be more supplemental, kind of grab and go, and you can do the same thing with our higher level curriculum and resources. But here you'll find books for K-5 science that come from a couple different lessons on science, all the way up to kind of more complete FlexBooks. For K-5 math, if I go back to subjects for a second here, and I know this is really tiny, so just go ahead and explore on our site. But at the K-5 math area, we have videos and we have practice for grades 1 through 5. So the same practice I showed you attached to a FlexBook for the middle school math book that I was showing, you could go ahead and you could have your students do practice or check out the videos or do different pieces in here. The other thing that you want to understand is that our platform has over 220,000 versions of our FlexBooks on our site. So there are other schools and districts that have created content at that level that might be helpful. So if I click on that schools link that I referenced for a great place to go look and collaborate, one school that's done some really cool content work at the K-5 level is in California. And this is a county that serves multiple districts in there. And so if I go down to Merced County here, you can see that we have, there we go. So Merced County Office of Education created math and science FlexBooks. Some of it they took from our content, some of it they made their own. You'll see here, I think, 3rd grade through middle, like the end of middle school, and then you got some K1, 2, 3 down here for mathematics. They've put some of their own videos in there, they've customized content, and that's a great starting place as well.
Chat, a lot of questions about translation. You know what's possible. Yes, translation is possible both in CK-12 and both in ClassTag, which is incredible way to reach all those families and, in your case, students, in our case, parents. Now, actually going to invite Sam from our team to jump back in. I want her to show everyone how on ClassTag, should teachers want to save this resource, have it handy for themselves, have it handy for sharing with families, where that can be saved within ClassTag.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and get my screen to share. Give me just a moment, guys. You guys are going to see all of us in chat. It's going to be fun. All right, in just a moment. Okay, for those of you who are using ClassTag, super easy to add CK-12 right to our quick links, which for those of you that are new, we have these links right here at the very top. Just to make it easy for you, super easy, CK-12, copy and paste a link, you add, and now your parents all have access to CK-12, making it super easy for everybody. And if you have any questions about quick links, feel free to drop those in the comments. I know pinned announcements are kind of like the same thing as well, but quick links, I mean, take the cake for us. It makes it a lot easier to streamline things with parents.
Now, a lot of one question that comes up a lot, Katie is regularly speaking around the country, doing webinars, doing sessions in person. What are some of the most common questions that are challenging for teachers as they're approaching teaching science, teaching math? What are those burning questions that seem to be a pattern that come up for you at CK-12, and perhaps some insight to those answers as well?
Yeah, I think some of them are in terms of, you know, what's available, what can I share? We did a ton of work in kind of March as everyone transitioned to online learning, having quick access and immediate access without going through 20 different hoops to, you know, sign up and pay for things and go from there. I would say one of the biggest questions we get is, can I use this in my blank learning management system? I use Blackboard, I use Moodle, I use Microsoft Teams. Google Classroom, Canvas, and Schoology are fully integrated. So you have no need to create a duplicate class in CK-12. I would just use those platforms, and you can learn more on our site about doing that or reach out to us. If you're using something else, you can always copy. Every single page on our site has a URL that you can copy and paste and share in whatever learning management system you're using, almost like you're, you know, tagging that in ClassTag as one of those links. But then you could create a class within CK-12 if you wanted to actually get those reports from there. I would say the other big thing is kind of accessible resources. So if you did need offline access for stuff, we can work with you to kind of give you offline access. Your customized or created content, you can access offline. You just lose all the amazing interactivity and adaptability when you do that. So if possible, we recommend that you kind of stay mainly on our site.
Thanks so much. And just stepping away a little bit from CK-12 and getting back to the big theme here of, how do we get free resources, especially at a time where, I know when I was teaching, spending hundreds, if not $1,000 out of my own pocket, never reimbursed every year. So, would love to ask Katie, and would also love to ask people in the chat, what other tips and tricks do you have for creating specifically STEM resources that are affordable? And perhaps it's things also that you're encouraging families to find around the home to use in lessons as manipulatives. Any tips or tricks that way? And Katie, any other insights that way?
Yeah, I would say you can search. I know one of our colleagues does a strategies webinar, and in one of it, he says, check out Twitter. So check out hashtags like #NGSS or STEM or something like that, and see what teachers are posting and sharing in there. There were so many lists of favorite ed resources that came out in March and April that it was kind of overwhelming at times. So, talk to your neighbors or colleagues or reach out. We have our alumni on our site. If you go to our certified educator page, that's in transition. So as soon as that's back up and running, when we change our program in a week, then you can see any educators that are nearby and just reach out to them. If they've been using, us, and they're often the ones that started using ed tech a couple of years ago before they had to do remote learning. And so they might be great resources as well.
Okay. And as we've got a question, Sam. We've got no audio from you, Sam, but.
So sorry, guys. We do have a teacher asking, can they access all the same student info through Canvas? Or meaning, are the reports as user-friendly as they would be on the CK-12 site?
Yes, you can access them. You have to open them. If it's Canvas, it would be through SpeedGrader. You'd open the link within the SpeedGrader within Canvas. As long as you had previously linked it and assigned that report, or that assignment, then you'd have the full access to insights and full access to the report.
And a second question, and your team is answering questions too. So we're having a good explosion of chat. Is FlexBook 2.0 free?
Everything on our site, including all of our certified educator program and webinars, are 100% free.
Great, awesome. I think we're good. But yeah, great questions from chat. Thanks, guys.
So last thing as we wrap up, Katie, I like to ask this to everyone who joins us. What are 2 or 3 key things that you really just want all teachers or parents to know as they head back to school?
Sure. I think the first thing is that there are free resources out there. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on textbooks to get resources and interactives and pieces, whether that's through CK-12 or another platform. Our content is grab and go. You can pick pieces of it or a full curriculum, kind of depending on the level and topic. And, this is focused on STEM, but we have content that we've created and others have created in other areas as well. So that's all available. And then the second piece is that we're here to help. We had a webinar this afternoon with my team on it. We're back now. We have another webinar tomorrow, a couple next week, and our support team's kind of amazing. So feel free to reach out with any questions. I know ClassTag is here to help you on that end. And yeah, those are probably the 2 big things.
Thank you so much. And just to add to that, we do have a number ourselves. ClassTag has a number of webinars coming up this summer, available to answer any questions you may have regarding back to school. Those are happening Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursday evenings. So quite a few sessions where we're all available to help you as best as we possibly can. And we're going to just wrap up now. And thank you so much for attending. Like I said, we will continue to monitor if there are any questions that we've missed over the next 24 hours. We will jump in and answer those to the best of our ability. And one person in that chat will be awarded with that $25 gift card by noon tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.